Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teacher Deno. And guys, today I want us to have a discussion on some of the things that I find in Kenya that we need to talk about in this video. Guys, remember Kenya is our country. Kenya is a good country, and apart from being a good country, we cannot say that it has all the good things that we may expect as a country, but there are some also other things which are better in this country. So guys, having been born and raised in Kenya, you have to learn a lot of things depending on how you observe things, and in which perspective and in which direction that you want things to look like. I'm not trying to criticize Kenya, or I'm not trying to paint Kenya as a country or as a nation in a bad way, but I'm trying to say that it is a sweet, bitter country. I've said that I'm born and raised in Kenya, and from the central part of Kenya, to be specific, from Mount Kenya, and not just Mount Kenya, from Mount Kenya East, that is from the Meru side. And guys, I've studied in Kenya right away from primary level, from my education, from my primary level, secondary level, and also in my tertiary education level. I'm a teacher by profession, and a high school teacher to be specific, and I've learned a lot about this country called Kenya. So Kenya is a sweet and a bitter country as I talk. This is because, why I say it's sweet? First of all, and just to start, when I say it's a sweet country, I mean most of us can attest to this, that Kenya is a very peaceful country. Apart from the post-election violence that were witnessed in the previous years, particularly in 2007, post-election violence, that is the only time that we experienced a lot of things happening that do happen in other countries now and then, and that was just a season. It was just a period, or an period of elections, and they never lasted for a long time. But in most other countries, we find that those countries, they lack peace, what we call peace. People don't live in peace. This is because there are constant attacks from neighboring countries. There are constant attacks from the so-called the Al-Shabaabs and other criminal organizations that always or constantly attack their country and just dismantle peace. And we find that those people never enjoy peace at any particular time. Kenya is a sweet country because you see that Kenya is a country that is an host to many refugees from different countries. For example, just to mention, we have the Kakuma refugee camp, we have the Dadaab, and so many. So Kenya has hosted a lot of people from other countries who lack peace in their countries, and they want to come and at least enjoy the peace that is enjoyed here in Kenya. And that alone can clearly show you that Kenya is a very peaceful country, because I've not heard of anyone who has moved from Kenya to go to other countries as refugees. But in Kenya, we have refugees from different countries, from our countries, for example, in East African countries, most of the refugees come from those countries. That's why we can all say that Kenya is a very peaceful country. Another thing that can tell you that Kenya is a very peaceful country is the democracy that we find in Kenya. You see, many countries do not have democracy. This is because you can hear someone abusing a president and they are not told anything, or they are just left alone to just talk, express themselves. But in other countries, you just try to say evil or ill about a president of a country, and you find yourself in a hot soup. So the democracy that we most enjoy, it's based in the constitution of Kenya. And remember, a constitution, the constitution is a document that states what is expected by the citizens and what is expected by those people in elective posts. And the democracy that we enjoy is one of the things that makes Kenya to be peaceful. And so when we come to the other side of Kenya as a bitter country, you can attest to this if at all you are a graduate, or if at all you completed your studies, you did your diploma courses, you did your degree course, you have your masters. It's a bitter country because a lot of people, even those in employment, most of us or most of them do not enjoy the fruits of their labor. This is because apart from not getting employed, even those employed, they are poorly remunerated, or they are poorly paid. Most of them don't enjoy their working conditions. Most of them, we have seen them in streets trying to protest, to fight for their rights. And what happens is that people are just told to stop what they are doing or be fired and be replaced by those other people who are in the same profession. And so the bitterness comes in when you spend a lot of money, or when you invest a lot of money in your education, and the moment you get a job, you are not given good salary. That is why we have a lot of brain drains. For example, we have our nurses who don't want to work in Kenya, they want to go and work in other countries. We have teachers who are qualified enough, but they don't want to work in their own countries. They just want to go and work outside, where they are given better pays and where they are respected. And we also have engineers, we also have medicine people, or those senior doctors. They don't want to work in Kenya because of such problems, such as poor remuneration. And the other dark part is that we have a lot of people who are learned here in Kenya, but they are jobless. Why do we say that they are jobless? Because you find that the employers or the employees, they don't want to employ these people. This is because they don't want to pay. They do not want to incur a lot of cost in employing new employees. So you find that most people are learned, and they are just jobless. For example, for the case of teachers, you find that a teacher who graduated 10 years back, or 7 years back, or 5 years back, they have never been employed. And we find that in our schools we have gaps, or we have schools that are understaffed. We have teachers who are overworking themselves to to meet the high level of learners in those schools. And so you find that the student to teachers ratio, the ratio of students or pupils is very high. You find that a teacher can handle a class that is overcrowded because there is no way that they can spray the class and there are not enough teachers. So that's another dark side of Kenya in terms of employment and in terms of giving jobs to those graduates or to those people who are qualified to undertake those jobs. We also say that Kenya is a bitter country. This is because we talk of innovations, but when a Kenyan tries to come up with something new, to innovate something new, they're just shut down. While in other countries, you find that if someone is trying to innovate something, they are supported by the government, and their innovation is given new figure, or their innovation is just transformed and it is uplifted to a better thing, or it's uplifted to become a just something good. But in Kenya here, you try to innovate something, you try to do something, you are shut down, or the taxes are very high, or so you find that the person who was willing to innovate something, the person who was willing to come up with a good idea, they are not able to implement the idea because of the high taxes that is introduced to them. And this makes Kenya to be a very bitter country to most people, or to most youths in Kenya. Kenya is also a bitter country because you find that the economy, or currently as we talk, the economy is not favorable to most of us as Kenyans, or to most people. This is because the money has lost value. And when the money loses value, you find that we have that thing that we call inflation. The buying of goods is very high, or with a thousand shilling, with 1,000 shilling, the things that you go and buy in a shop, they are things that you can put in just a small paper bag and they are full. This shows you that the value of the Kenyan shillings at this particular moment is very low compared to other countries whereby you find that the value of their money is good. The value of the money is very high, such that when you have around $1, you are able to do a lot of things. And guys, let's just think of this on what we can do in terms of making Kenya a better place to live. I think it's by us people, or us the youth, trying to set up a government that is friendly to its people, a government that is not corrupt, a government that is willing to assist its citizens. When we talk of corruption, there is no regime that is trying to fight corruption to its fullest. That is the other bitter side of Kenya. You find that even with qualifications, with all the things required in securing good jobs, with corruption, you find things are very difficult. You find that backdoors are so much used by people who are well off to acquire employment, or to set up businesses, or to exploit themselves or exploit their ideas. And when we talk of corruption, corruption is the cause of all the evils we can see in our society. That is where you find the sons and daughters of those from peasant families. They cannot have anything to celebrate. This is because they may not afford the the amount required in securing employment in any institution. For example, government institutions. For example, parastatus, they may not acquire or they may not have that amount or that cash that may be needed to secure a very stable employment. And that's another thing that is troubling Kenya as a country. And if something is not done on the issue, I believe even by 2030, we will be revolving in the same place that we were even in the previous regimes. So we need a government that is very stable, that is willing and able to fight the thing that we are calling corruption as a whole. Because with it or with this corruption or with these corrupt leaders, or obvious you cannot achieve extraordinary result using the ordinary means that have been used here before. So we need a very stable government. We need very visionary leaders who are willing to fight for their citizens, who are willing to fight what we call corruption, or who are willing to move an extra mile of ensuring that their interests is not on what they get or what they want in that government, but in terms of what they want to achieve for this country. We can have a better country if at all we have leaders who are willing to work or to work day and night to make sure that they place Kenya in a better position than they found it. So personally, and many other youths outside there who are jobless and who feel that bitterness, who have invested in the system of education and they are not employed. Kindly let's pray for our country to have good leaders who are willing to work on this country and transform it to the way that most generations and the generations will be happy with. Yes, there is much of being insistent that if you are a graduate or if you have passed through tertiary education, you have acquired education, you don't need to be employed, you don't need to seek for employment from the government. Yes, that is understandable, but there is something we call self-employment. The challenges of self-employment is that you find that acquiring capital is another headache to most youths. And another thing is the government policies that are set aside. They are not so favorable to make that common mwananchi or that graduate, a young graduate or fresh graduate from the university from college to start that self-employment. This is because the policies are very high. You need to get a license, you need to have a plan, you need to have so many things. And this hinders a lot of youths from wanting to invest or wanting to start capital generating activities, because even the policies from the government themselves, they discourage these youths from starting or from implementing the ideas they have in mind. More so, I want to insist on government policies. The government policies are not so clear on how one is able to start that job or that business. So they are after you now and then. After you have started something, for example, even a shop, they want to forward you to the relator. They want to take the retro you are getting from that business, and they are not giving even time. They are not giving you even a period of months or a period of. They want just to see that you have acquired all the necessary documents that are required to start a small business. And this discourages a lot of people because you find that it's not a simple process. It's something that you have to struggle with for you to get that permit, or for you to get those legal documents that are required for you to start up a business. And you find that you have an idea, but implementing it's complicated by the government and some things of that sort. Another thing is getting visas. If you want to acquire a visa to move from Kenya to other countries to look for green patches, you find that the legal requirements are very complicated. You try to go to those offices that are responsible in giving out visas, and you find that there is a lot of bureaucracy that is in those books. The Instead of making things easy for you to go and look for green pastures, they just complicate things. You find that there are a lot of cash that is required for you to get those legal documents to enable you to move from Kenya to other countries. So that is the other bitter part of Kenya as a country. I'm not disputing that Kenya is a peaceful country. Yes, it is a peaceful country. I'm not disputing that Kenya is a good country. Yes, it is a good country. But a lot of bureaucracy is entailed in this country. And so it becomes sweet bitter. I'm not trying to mean that Kenya is a bad country. No, I'm not trying to paint it to be a bad country. Yeah, no. But I think something must be done. Something must be done to enable those people with ideas, those people who have invested in their education, or who have invested their time in studying, to be given an equal opportunity, or to be helped to just earn a living, and being given a chance to exploit the ideas without much of bureaucracy or much of the procedures to get what they require in order to exploit or implement their ideas. So guys, thank you for watching this video. And I'm not trying to discourage investors from coming to Kenya. Any investor from outside from Kenya, the country is much peaceful. You can come, invest, create employment for us, and we will appreciate. Many investors have come, they have tried to create employment. Of course, you expect that when a country has a large population and the jobs created are minimal, you cannot be able to satisfy that large number of individuals who are not employed. So many investors can come to Kenya, they can try to start up businesses, and you see those investors, they come through their ambassadors in Kenya from other countries. And so if at all an investor has cash or has money, they their coming in is made easy by their offices that are located in Kenya, and they are able to set up businesses. And so they come, they start, or they create job opportunities, and some of us are employed by those investors from the outside countries. And so many can come, but for those within Kenya, there are those challenges that if not well looked onto, most Kenyans will continue suffering. Most people will continue remaining poor and poor. Most people who are learned will continue stagnating with their certificates rotting in their boxes, or stagnate with their certificates not getting value for them. And so this also becomes an embarrassment to those people who are in school, those people who looked to us as role models, and they cannot see any benefit of learning or standing because they see their brothers, they went to school, they've completed their tertiary education, and they are nowhere, they have nothing. And so it encourages a lot of students or a lot of people who looked upon their older brothers to see how they fare with the education that they have achieved. And so, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Kindly let me hear your comment in the comment section. How is Kenya according to you? How can you rate Kenya? How can you rate this country in terms of employment levels, in terms of peace, and in terms of how you have observed, or how you have observed this country to look? So I want to leave it at that point, and until our next episode, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year come 2023. And take care. Remember, January is there. January is there. There is payment of school fees. There are other things. Leave us to continue. So don't spend everything on Christmas. Don't spend everything on eating and drinking. But remember, there is January coming. January is a tough month, and just eat, just not waste, just eat and share with those who do not have. If you are lucky to have enough, share with those who are the less fortunate in the society, and leave something for you. Leave something. January is coming, next year is coming. We will still have some other things to take care of, and this is life. It has to continue. Even though it has all the ups and downs, it has to move on. Yes. Remember, life has no rehearsal. Life has to move on, remember, and it does not stop. If you are 1 year old last year, today, next year you'll be 2 years old. So that is life. So goodbye for now, and see you in our next episode. And it's my hope that you share this video with your friends. Just tell me what you think about Kenya in the comment section, and I will much appreciate. So bye for now, and see you, and may God bless you, and may you have a fruitful 2027, or I'm sorry, 2023. Bye, and see you, and enjoy your moment. Enjoy this Christmas.